podcast, Soul Expansion and Inspiration. This is Series 2, Episode 6, and my name is Allie O'Shea. Today, I would like to give a very warm welcome to my guest, Bec Hart, who is a coach, a channel, a healer, an activator, an artist, a writer, a blogger, a vlogger, an alternative therapist, and holds several qualifications in mental health. Welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. It's just thank you for this opportunity. I'm really looking forward.
My pleasure. So you have many qualifications, and you do lots and lots of things. I see you on social media with your blogs and your poetry and your channeling of light language, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But the one thing that I didn't understand throughout all those qualifications was an activist. I'm not sure what that means, and maybe the listeners don't either. So would you mind explaining what that one is for us?
Was that an activator then?
Activator, sorry, did I say activist? I meant activation, sorry.
Basically, there's lots of different things in life what can activate us, so it's like an awakening. So within, we have knowledge within us that once we can hear a particular thing, or if you're channeled with light language, or you hear a song, it can activate an inner knowing. Right. So basically, a lot of our wisdom isn't through qualifications, it's actually held within our bodies. And say if you went on a course and you went to a dancing class set, and you start dancing and she's telling you to move your body, and you just start moving your body in a particular way, and you're like, where's this come from? Yeah. I have no idea where this has come from. And it's just this inner knowing. But just by meeting that person, their energy can activate yours. Certain sounds can activate your energy. Certain poems can activate, certain words can activate. So there's so many different activations. Activations can be in films, they can be in basically anything. But for me personally, what I've realized is I hold a lot of coding to activate people with lots of different things. With going through a lot of trauma within my life, I hold a lot of healing codes as well. So for me personally, I like exploring the depth within, so through poetry, through writing, through singing, through light language, through movement, and all these different things. And they've all come from within, not necessarily from, I have done a lot of qualifications, but I've never really taken anything from them other than it activating what's already within myself. So I've never used anything really from them as such. With regards to art, I just one day decided to pick up a paintbrush and some paint and a canvas, and I just started painting, and they were all predictions of what was going to happen in my ascension. And I tend to use them on my clients as well when I'm having sessions.
You paint pictures for them?
They tend to be pictures what I can use for everybody, but I just have a knowing of which one I can use for that session.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah. Wow. And you write poetry as well, don't you? You write poetry?
Yeah, a lot of my poetry has been channeled. Not all, but quite a lot of it. And that has a lot of activations. It has a lot of hidden information in it as well, which I didn't realise when I was writing it at the beginning. But there's been a lot of like, it's really hard to explain. There's been a lot of like words from Jesus and things like that, but because I've never been religious, or I didn't feel I was spiritual before my awakening as such, I didn't realise that that's what was coming through.
Yeah.
So it's been very interesting.
The second person today that's talked about, Jesus coming through, but not having that religious background, which is quite amazing, 2 in one day.
Yeah, I've had I channel a lot of different people, but I don't ask who they are because I don't feel I need to know. Um, they tend to make themselves clear to me at some point anyway. Like when I was channeling for a lady, a client, um, I channeled Mary Magdalene and the Sisters of the Rose. Like I'd put a rose within her heart and activated her that way. So I never usually know what's going to happen with a client. It's just always channeled specifically for them. So it's very interesting because nothing's ever the same at
Yeah,
all.
that, that makes life interesting. If everything was the same, we'd all be really bored. um, you,
Yeah.
you say that your spiritual journey began when you awoke to the truth. You received the inspiration from a need to take care of yourself. Would you like to share with myself and the listeners what you mean by this and talk a little bit about your background if you'd like to? Because I'm guessing that your background and the things that you've gone through in the past probably have a lot to do with your story and where you find yourself now.
Yeah, sure. Well, with regards to awakening to the truth, for me, I had a life of trauma. There was one thing after another, after another, after another, and it started from being really, really young. A lot of my childhood I couldn't remember because there was quite a lot of trauma. Going through to adulthood, I've always made a joke of you could literally write a soap series just based on me as every single character from
Yeah.
my past. It was dreadful. Like I can laugh about it now, and I fully understand now why those things needed to happen and the strength it's created. But it got to February 2016, and at that point in time, I was at rock bottom, and I just for the first time in my life properly prayed, and I was like, help me, I don't want to be here anymore. I either need some help or I just can't be here anymore. And it was literally that or that. And that day I took action and decided that I was giving up drinking, and I started taking care of myself, and I'd been in a lot of unhealthy relationships, and um, that continued for quite a while. And the following year, well, actually, it was later that year, I started with really severe symptoms of chronic fatigue syndrome, which now I know to be me awakening. And the beginning of 2017, I was literally bedridden, and I couldn't really move very much around my house or anything. I had like a shower seat, and I was in horrific pain. It was debilitating, but I understand that I needed that as well because I was doing so much. I never stopped. So it was like you going down the total wrong path.
Yeah.
You're doing wrong job. You're not doing anything what fulfills you. I was trying to fix people. I weren't really trying to look into my trauma on a deeper level because I was in unhealthy relationships. So it allowed me that space and time to delve deeper into what I did actually want, and I decided that I was going to make huge changes, and that's what happened.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, it can be very traumatic when you're going through that type of thing, and I'm sure that it's wonderful that you realize now why you went through those things, because that's part of it, isn't it? Part of realizing how we've expanded, how we've grown, and how we've evolved to be where we are today. So well,
Definitely.
yeah, well done. So when you say you're a channel, do you mean that you channel other light beings or angels or something else? Of course, I know what channeling is, but for those listeners who don't, do you want to give it to us from your channeling perspective, from
Yeah,
where you
sure.
come from?
So I feel I've channeled all my life, but I didn't realize I was doing it. I didn't have a clue I was doing it. I just knew things and I didn't know how I knew them. Um, and with channeling, particularly light language, I used to do it as a child, but I thought I was making it up. And then as the trauma went on and the conditioning, it got squished down, and then I lost my connection to source, or I felt like I did. But now with the channeling of light language particularly, I can channel different beings galactically, angels, ascended masters, and I found a lot of the time I channel myself in different dimensions. So like I could be channeling myself in a different dimension as opposed to someone else.
Right.
So
Yeah.
for me, I don't, a lot of channels can feel like quite light-headed, and because they're channeling like other beings, but I feel that I'm connected to myself a lot.
Yeah. So you're more in control.
Yeah, but we can channel everything. So like if you see a plant, you can channel a plant. If you connect with the sun, you can channel the sun. You can channel literally any single thing. So what I've been interested in of late is channeling medications and things like that, and plant medicine, and the sun, the moon, stars, and just working with those and crystals. So I've been quite intrigued on those sort of lines. I have channeled colours in the past, which have been very interesting. And I did channel a plant once, and it just sounded like codes. So it sounded like what sacred geometry would look like.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it was very
That's
interesting.
amazing. Yeah. I've never heard of people channeling the sun, the moon, or the stars, or a plant. And so does
Yeah.
it make like when you say that, I know I've heard light language, which to me sounds like another language, but when you channel a plant or medicine, as you say, does that also sound like light language, or does it sound like something else completely as well?
Um, it varies. So even with my light language, it can vary. So depending on who or what I'm channeling, the voice can change, the language can change. Sometimes it's codes, and key codes are like they sound like beeps and bleeps, because you're channeling light and sound and frequencies
Yes.
through light language. Um, when I've channeled colours in the past, sometimes it can sound like a repetitive noise, or even insects or animals.
Mm,
Um, and sometimes it can be a language. If it's the language, I'm talking about the colour,
right.
but the actual frequency of the colour would be the sound, the repetitive sound,
And
or the sacred geometry.
when you're channeling these things, is that for a purpose of healing?
So that's why I want to play with it, because I have this feeling the um for plant medicine, it would be that you could listen to it and it would have the same healing properties without having to take it.
Mm, yeah, yeah,
So it's just something I'm trying to play with at the minute, and feel into it. Most things are quite experimental, but there's always a reason behind the experiment,
yeah,
and they tend to take on a form that I don't expect. They seem to be a lot more powerful than what I expect.
yeah. And with the light language, though, is that so when you hear that in your head, are you hearing it the way that you're saying it? Or and is it for purpose of healing that you do that, or what's its purpose?
Um, I don't hear it in my head, it just channels straight through me. If you imagine an instrument and you've got someone blowing through it, I'm like the instrument. So
Oh,
I never question what's coming through, because there's no need to. It just creates blockages and beliefs,
mm,
and resistance, I feel. So when I'm channeling, it can be for a variety of different things. Like a lot of what I've been doing recently is accessing people's higher abilities and superpowers as such. So I've been showing them how to heal using crystals in totally different ways to what we've been shown. Or I can access what it is, what they can put together for the unique purpose, and there's that sort of thing. Other light language sessions I've had have been totally about stripping people of conditioning and the beliefs and getting to them root cause. So that's where me guiding comes in. You can call it coaching, but I use a guide, because I wish for people to access their own inner power, and explore the self, as opposed to me saying this is what's going on. I like them to explore what's going on within, and then when it arises for them again, they know exactly what to do.
Yes.
So for me, when I have a client, I don't see them that often. It's like once, maybe twice, because I want to give them open up their powers, activate them to be their own healer, which they are.
Yeah, I did the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had people with illnesses. Obviously, I'm not a medical professional, so I can't say I can heal this, that, and the other. But what I would say is that if you come to me and you have something, we can see if anything happens from that, or we can ease symptoms and see where we go from there. But I can't claim to cure anything.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for explaining that. You also say that you practice alternative therapy. Which alternative therapies do you practice?
I have in the past, but now I tend to use my light language. It seems to be a lot more powerful. I have Reiki qualifications, massage, Indian head massage, those sort of things.
Cool.
But for me, it evolved into light language, and then I never really went back to those things.
Right. Yeah, because you feel that that's where your strength lies, I guess.
There could be I could be channeling Reiki as I'm doing it, because I do use my hands, and I use a lot of energy healing within the movements.
Yeah.
But they just come naturally as well. I feel like when I dance as well, there seems to be a lot of healing energy that comes out through my dance.
Yeah. Do you want to do a little bit of light healing now, or light language now for the listeners? I know the listeners aren't going to be able to see you. The viewers on YouTube will. So if you're listening on podcast format, you can watch Bec doing it if she wants to go ahead and do it, using her hands and her arms as well as her language, of course.
Yeah, sure. What's been coming up for you lately? Is there anything in particular what you can think of, like a clearing or anything of?
Not really. I'm tired today, though. I don't know if that's the kind of thing you're looking for. You mean problem-wise, or
Just anything really. We can go with tiredness. Yeah, definitely. So
just tired today, really? Like,
yeah, so we can definitely give a boost.
that'll be good.
So we'll do that. Yeah. So just breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and taking some deep breaths in and then out and in and out. And imagine breathing in a beautiful baby pink colour coming in through the nose, filling the upper body at deep cellular level, and a beautiful vibrant yellow coming in through the feet from Mother Earth and filling the lower body at deep cellular level. And both colours merging and spiralling, enlivening the body. And just keep imagining that, and you can keep your eyes closed as I channel some light language, bringing joy, unconditional love, self-love, and a raised vibration. Hokara eska ashka askaruki askara ka askara koshi askara a. Ukukuriata krokiata tata kadoyata karakata Hala Ashea Samasa Kurokosko. Eshala Sakala Eshala. Ololo Eshalala Sala Eshala. Olole Eshalala Asasa. Ososhe Asamashe Asaraha. Aluru Yashalala. Ala Ashela Salaria Shalala. Oke Alala Shena Sana Shena Salala Shena Sana Moshon Moso. Umpoye Shalala Shea Sakarakosko Yeshkaska. Ukukoshiaska aska ashiaska atatiasko bishkaska edoshiaska oskoriheshka aska asko ushkiaska osko eska aski eska osko eski aska. Just take some deep breaths, just grounding that energy in. and imagining a beautiful diamond within your heart with a very bright pink center, and just feeling into that. You can place your hands on your heart if you wish to, and just feeling into that now. Feeling that energy connecting to your heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much for letting the listeners and myself experience the light language. So that was very relaxing. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Just drink plenty of water today. It's so important to be hydrated after a session.
Yeah,
There was
like
there were quite a few body upgrades in that. So you can feel it within the body. That's the patterning.
Thank you very much. That's cool. Yeah, I know with with any healings and types of things that I would do, that I would recommend the same for my clients.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you also have any mediumship skills then as well?
Yeah, so channeling, psychic, mediumship, they're all similar. So if you're looking at mediumship, and psychic's like on a linear level, so that's like on, as time is like on a linear level. Mediumship, I suppose you could look at it like spirit on another plane. Channeling's like multidimensional.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all very similar. It's just different levels that you're accessing.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
And you say
yeah.
that you would like people to know that they should listen to their soul as guidance, that it's important to listen to your body, your feelings, and accept that there is no good or bad, but rather just what we are taught. Would you like to talk to listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. We all have our answers within. In our childhood, we're always taught to look. Well, most people are taught to look outside of ourselves to fill within, when in fact it's within to outside. So we can, if we're working on the external filling the internal, we're always looking for more. We never feel that we're enough, or we never feel like we have enough. And when we have something, we're always looking for something else. So that's a good sign of that life's working outside in. Whereas if we start listening to our bodies, they're so wise. Like, it will tell you, you shouldn't be eating this, you shouldn't be doing this. And if we tune into that, we know we can feel like we'll eat some sugar and we'll just like get a crash like that. And we know our body's saying, look, I'm struggling, this isn't really helping me, Anna. But it's the same with knowledge and wisdom. Like, we can be around particular people or situations, and we can just have a knowing that something's going to occur. And everyone's got that ability.
Yeah.
To me, everyone's got the ability to be psychic and everything else. It's just feeling it into that, and owning that, and being open to it, because we've also been conditioned to believe that these things aren't real. Some
Yeah.
people have been conditioned to that, and then that creates a block within you to access that. Or you might be accessing it and not realizing, because a lot of people don't realize that they are psychic and they are mediums. And
Yeah.
we expect to see spirit and connection in a totally different way, because we think, or we may think, that the person's going to pop up at the side of us, and that's how you see. But it's not. Some people can, but it's not necessarily like that. You could get signs and symbols through, you could get a sound, you could get colors, you could just get a knowing. My primary is a knowing. I just have a knowing of things.
Yeah.
It's called claircognizance. Or you can hear, you can taste. There's so many different ways, and people tend to have more than one as well. So it's really interesting. And once we get in that quietness and start going within and listening, we open ourselves up so much more to hearing and seeing and feeling what's
Yes.
actually occurring within us and around us. But that listening to ourselves is so important, because if we go to someone for advice, they've always got their perspective on that. So they're giving you the perspective, like I'm talking now, this is my perspective. And each and every single person will have a different perspective. There's no right or wrong. It's just everyone's experience is so unique to them
Yes.
that it's like someone reading a book. If you get 20 people reading a book, there is not two people what's going to have the same on every single page of that book. They might have crossovers,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't mean that they've read it wrong. It just means they've experienced it in a different way.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it's about following your intuition and being open, as you say, to, you know, the realms that are out there, of which there are so many that we know about. And, you know, that anyone can tune into. Everybody is born with psychic abilities, and it's just about exercising that psychic muscle and, you know, tuning in, paying attention to your intuition, being open to it, and letting it flow, as you just have
Yeah,
with language.
you can just start by sitting there in the quiet and just asking for spirit to come close to you, and you might feel like a coldness or a warmness, or you might hear something or see something.
Or
But it
smell
is,
something.
it's different. Yeah, or smell something or taste something as well. So it is different. Or you might see flashing lights that, and you might primarily have one, but then other things come in as time goes on. And it's just having that patience as well, because everything's divinely timed. Everything comes to us at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And just that patience. So you might get a symbol through, you might draw a symbol, but you're not told what it means, but it just means that it's not time to actually know what that is yet, and it'll make itself very clear when it's ready to.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. And so, do you want to just tell the listeners lastly what services exactly you can provide for them and where the best place to reach you is?
Yeah, sure. So I've got a business page on Facebook, and it's just under Bec Hart. Also, I've got an email which is beckheart11@outlook.com. So you can email me about my services, which is light language and guidance. They go hand in hand. My sessions are £111. In the sessions, I just channel what is needed for you at that particular time. They can last from anything from an hour to 3 hours. It just totally depends on what's needed at that moment in time for you. The very powerful sessions, they do need some integration time. I do art as well. I can channel art, predictions for people, and energy art. I've started doing that recently as well.
Very good.
And I've
Wonderful.
got my blog. My blog's beckhart.blog. I write quite rawly, so be open if you do want to have a look at it. It's quite raw writing. It's not timid, so it's just a pre-warning on that. I like exploring emotions with depth. So if someone's going through something, if they read it, they can relate to it, and they can explore that depth within themselves without feeling like they're different or odd or anything of that nature. Because we're also taught that we shouldn't have certain feelings. So I'm a big advocate in feeling all feelings. It's one of my main things, what I like to teach people, which is to honor every single part of you and accept yourself, because healing is basically an acceptance of everything you are and that's happened,
Mm,
and
mm.
knowing that you are enough.
Exactly, exactly. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, for being my guest on the podcast, and
Oh, thank
for
you.
sharing your story and your light language with us today. Thank you so much, Bec Hart.
Oh, thank you so much. I've just remembered as well, I've got a YouTube channel, which is Bec Hart as well, but
Okay.
that's light language. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
The link again, www.
It's just, if you put Bec Hart light language in YouTube, it should just come up.
Okay, perfect. And we'll put all those links, or my husband will, on the YouTube video and, you know, underneath.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us here today. Thank you so much, Bec
Thank
Hart.
you. Thanks a lot.
All right. And bye-bye to the listeners. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.